Hello and welcome to another episode of the Construction Corner podcast. I'm Dillon. I'm your host, joined by my blue collar badass, Matt. How's it going, man?
Things are fantastic here in Michigan, Dillon. We are rocking and rolling. Our season is just kind of getting into full swing. We got new projects kicking off. It's been an absolutely awesome week so far, and it's only Wednesday. How about yourself?
Dude, I echo that sentiment. Had some good conversations last few weeks with engineering firms and talks with some design build contractors for software. And then after this, I'm going to get over the range for a little bit since I just had the, joy of joining my local gun club. So I'm super excited about that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, man. It's like 5 minutes from the office.
That's a good place to be.
It is. But without further ado, I want to introduce our illustrious guest, Rikki Altenburg, who co-owns and operates Western Heritage Consulting and Engineering and Works Construction based out of Casper, Wyoming, which I think you are our first person out of Wyoming. She's generated, it's if you guys haven't been or driven through Wyoming, highly recommend it. I've done it a few times. Beautiful country, as well as Montana, that whole big sky country up there. 20 years of management experience in general aviation, which curious about, engineering and construction, and is continually pursuing opportunities to develop her employees, educate clients, and work on amazing natural resource projects, which one unique thing that I do want to cover is some of the irrigation projects and just water in general. I'll probably get on a little bit of soapbox about California, but just FYI. She's married to her amazing business partner, Ryan, and have two amazing children who are already learning to run equipment, which is awesome because we need future operators. But positive energy is her daily focus, giving and receiving to each person that she is around. So without further ado, Rikki, welcome to the show.
Hello, gentlemen. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for making time and coming on. We're looking forward to this one.
Yes, likewise. It's an honor to be here, and I'm excited that I'm the first Wyoming guest. There's only 499,000 other people that you could call, so
You're the one.
I'm honored to be the first one here.
Well, I mean, in kind of northern Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, and I know I'm lumping all you guys together. But in that kind of big sky country, some of the projects that, I think are being more pointed out, or really just Yellowstone is putting a light on your beautiful part of the state. But kind of run us through, I mean, have you been in Wyoming and in Casper for the last 20 years, or where did you kind of get your start in the construction industry?
Sure. For construction, definitely started in Casper, Wyoming. We do work all over the Western U.S., sans California, for more reasons that you probably know than I do. But all of the general reasons we're not there. But we do focus our efforts all of Western United States. Water is our passion, whether it's the engineering division or the construction division, and just natural resources as a whole. So we started our construction firm 6 years ago, and that was at the advice of a very high profile client that we were working on his project, and we couldn't get a contractor to come do what we had just designed. And he flat out said, like, well, why in the hell don't you guys just build it? We were like, well, that's an excellent idea. Why in the hell don't we just start a construction company? And that's how it came to fruition. When we do the designs, mainly irrigation was our main focus back then. And it just seemed like there weren't very many general contractors that could come in and put in irrigation systems. And so they weren't intricate. It just wasn't what they did on a normal daily basis. And a lot of our clients are high profile clients, high net worth clients, that it's generally not their first property or their second or third property. This is their luxury property. This is what they want to come and make memories with their families. And so it's extremely important that it gets done correct and it gets done timely. As you know, with all construction projects, time is money. So we decided, okay, we'll start a construction firm. Like, how hard can this be, right? My husband's a pretty brilliant man. He is the PE that is the brains of our engineering firm, and also the brains behind our construction firm from the engineering aspect. I'm the one that gets to put it all into process. So we just jumped. We said, let's do it. And we're very niche. We are very much a firm that there's not a lot of firms out there that do what we do. We work in very remote settings. Our projects are very diverse, and it's all centered around natural resources and the passion from the owner. Whatever the vision and passion that that owner has, we make it come to reality.
So one thing is just for our listeners. So to dive in on some of the irrigation projects, because like on your website and stuff like that, you've got the big pivot wheels, which if anybody's flown anywhere, you see the big, circles for the big pivot wheel irrigation. First, touch on that, because I do want people to like really understand how like intense these systems are for anyone that's not been around a pivot irrigation system. So let's start there. And then I do want to go into like what some of the unique applications are for irrigation systems that you might do for these kind of luxury and vacation type homes.
Sure. So for irrigation as a whole, it kind of gets lumped into 90% of America thinks you're lawn irrigation, right? And really that's what irrigation is. It's just like a lawn system, just 10,000 acres, or 5,000 acres or 500 acres. We work on all scales of irrigation systems, everything from drip systems. So we work a lot in the desert Southwest, and water does not flow as like it used to from Montana clear down to Arizona. So water conservation is key. And it is all throughout the West. The East, they try to get rid of it. We try to cherish it and treat it like gold and keep it wherever we can keep it. So the drip systems, that's been big on our corporate farming projects, everywhere from a 5,000 acre pivot, or I'm sorry, a 5,000 acre plot of land that they're doing a corporate irrigation project on, to 20 or 30,000 acres. My husband today is actually down in southern Arizona on one that's a 20,000 acre farm that we're growing food for America. So that's all drip system for the main part. The pivot irrigation system, it's crazy. You can have a pivot to irrigate an acre and a half, or you can have a pivot that, and it's multiple pivots, but you're irrigating 10,000 acres. So we have trees under pivots. Small trees, we have mostly alfalfa crops is what we put under pivots. There's food crops under pivots. So it can be kind of for anything and everything. And a lot of industries use pivots that you wouldn't think do, but they do. And yeah, when you fly over, what are they called? The flyover states, that's what we refer to them as, right? And everything's green. That's the green circles, that's going to be your pivot. As far as on the luxury properties or the residential properties, green's key. That's one thing. The other thing is a lot of these properties in these high mountain and high net worth areas, you think your Aspens, your Tellurides, your Vales, those types of areas, they're actually ag production places. Now, do they have luxurious homes on them? You bet. But what a lot of people don't understand, that a lot of times there's a farmer or a rancher that comes in and runs cattle on those ranches. So somebody buys a 1,000 acre property in Aspen. Well, it's not just 1,000 acres of lawn. It's 1,000 acres. It's 900 acres of grazing property, or they put up production hay for the cattle that graze there, and then they feed them in the winter grounds there. So there's a lot that goes into a luxury property. Small properties, you bet. It's a big sprinkler system to keep everything green. So when that owner pulls in, it's a beautiful estate. But there are a lot of uses on other luxury properties that a lot of people don't understand, that it is still ag use and ag ground. And that helps on the tax front as well, property taxes.
So how did you get your start in this? It's a pretty, like you said, pretty niche market that you serve in a pretty niche field. How did you get started, or how did you and your husband get started?
Sure. So we did the design aspect, right? So we've been doing irrigation design. He's been doing it for years, but we've been doing irrigation and natural resources, things, ponds, streams, dams, reservoirs. We've been designing all of that for over 12 years. He's been doing it for over 25 years, us personally for 12 years. And it came to fruition from that client saying, we've got to find somebody to build it. And us as the project engineer, we were always trying to find qualified contractors. You'd go to bid and it was never low bid that wins on our projects. It was always, let's find the most qualified, competent contractor. They just weren't there. So we said, let's jump, let's go do it. And that kind of morphed into, as you guys both know, when you start your own company, you don't necessarily say no to very many things. It's like, can you do that? Hell yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can absolutely do that. And it's kind of morphed into, now we know where our specialty is a little bit more. We would do anything and everything to get started. And And now we do mostly 80% private projects, and we'll do 20% public projects. And the public projects we work on are usually stream or irrigation related, game and fish, like improving trout habitat, wildlife habitat type of projects, stream restorations from the flooding, the erosion. So that's mostly what our public projects are, but our forte is bringing a vision to reality that one of our owners has.
It's a very, very cool approach to the market. One that, we certainly haven't heard much about on the show. And I personally haven't heard much about it, period. In our world here in Michigan, our civil engineers and our design firms, they don't touch equipment. They wouldn't know where to put the key. And conversely, our earth workers, like, don't give them a drafting table because they'll light it on fire. So to kind of marry those two together is awesome. So I got to ask you, I was watching, first of all, you have an awesome website, one of the better construction geared websites I've ever seen. I would highly recommend everybody check it out. But you guys have a video on there, and I guess it's you and your husband primarily. You bring up the term true design build. Can you explain that? Because that one rings close to my heart based on our own marketing, but I have a feeling it's at least slightly different than what I use it for.
Probably very similar to what you do, yes, but as far as what we consider the true design build is that we are there from the very first vision, from right after this owner, and it's generally, I'm generalizing just because it's most of our clientele, but an owner calls and says, hey, I want to do something on this property, and we show up and we walk the property, or we get in a UTV and drive that property, and we stop along the way and we say, well, what's your favorite vision here? Well, I like that mountain, or I like that stream, or I want to sit here with my grandkids and fish. Like, okay, so we take note of that, right? And we drive all through the property. And then at the very end, we say, okay, so we talked through everything. What's your vision now? Because it's changed. It's changed from the time we entered the gate to the time we just come back to the pickup and sit down and go through the vision. And so we get to sit and help make their vision. A lot of them will show up and say, well, I don't care. I just want it pretty, and I just want a place to get away from everybody. Cool. But what does that mean to you? A gentleman comes in from New York, or a gal comes in from Florida. It's different than what it means to me in Wyoming, what my vision is. So from the true design build, we get to take the vision, and then we get to put it on paper. And how many iterations it takes to finally find the vision, but then we get to design it. So then we're designing roads. Very first thing, how do you even access the property? So we start from the road aspect and design roads, and then design all of the underground infrastructure. And actually the last couple of years, we've started to go vertical. That was not something that we had ever planned on. Again, we had a client say, well, can you guys build this? Sure. Why not? Yeah, we can build it, and just don't say no in that aspect. But he was also one of those guys that is an extremely successful businessman himself. And he said, I know y'all have it in you. It's just a matter of pushing you off the cliff and making you do it. So, and that's what we did. But yeah, so design build, back to the original question, design build to us is we get to see it from the very beginning to the actual very end, and all of our employees get to touch it. Every single person that works in our company has some critical component in that project to the success of it.
That is fantastic. That's very, very similar to what we do. We like to say we're the tip of the spear in any development process. And while ours is, primarily vertical, it's the same idea. We help our clients from zero all the way to handing them the keys. So I love it.
And it's gratifying. It's I don't know. I don't know if that was the video that Ryan, my husband, actually got pretty emotional about when we were delivering keys to this home that we just built, and we both were emotional. Man, we've been there 3 years. Like we've done so many phases for you. That was phase 3, and then we just hand the keys over, and you're like, gosh, it's like a child, I'm giving you my child here. It's pretty gratifying. And then to come back and have a glass of whiskey on the porch with them, that's truly the best part of it. And you get to see their kids out playing, and yeah, it's fun, but it's emotional. There's emotional attachment to all of those design build projects.
For sure.
I think it's easier. We have just design. There's projects we do just design on. There's projects we do just construction on, but they don't seem to be near as emotional as the true start to finish. You've got it all invested. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Well, and So well, oh man, I have so many ways to go with this, but one of the things I'd like you to touch on is, you know, just in hearing you speak, you deal with a lot of high net worth individuals, right? And when you talk about corporate farms, so I know a little bit about this, like a smidge about it, just for what we have in the Central Valley here in California, and then you extend that to like wine country, when people are, farming. Well, so not necessarily some of the wine country, right? When we talk like Gallo, when they do everything soup to nuts and they're farming, 10,000 acres of grapes, or, you have 15,000 acres of nuts, right? Like if you eat a blue diamond almond, it comes from the Central Valley of California. And so in dealing with these high net worth individuals, because I would imagine you get to interface with the owner directly for a lot of these projects. Um, how has that kind of stretched your vision or what you see as possible? And the reason I want to bring this up is this is one of the unique things that we get to do in construction is have an interface with owners, especially in your case, right? These very high net worth individuals, and especially designing luxury properties for them and kind of retreats. But on the other side of that, even, some of the projects like you do, Matt, is, they're high net worth people, right? They're putting down whatever it might be, 10, 20, 50, $100 million for these projects. And, not everybody can write that check, but most of these individuals can. So how has it been to work with people like that in high net worth? I did a lot of institutional work, so I didn't quite get that same experience as you have, but speak a little bit to that.
Sure. It's truly mind blowing. I mean, there are days that I think, my gosh, we just worked with, 3 out of the top 5 landowners in the United States on the top 100 list. Like, and that was our goal. The top 5 was our goal when we first started this 10 years ago or 12 years ago. But yeah, it's we're so grateful to be able to visit with them, to be able to chat with them and get an understanding of what brings them together, what brings them out to this property, what brings them joy, and then their success too. Luckily, especially on these big long projects that we're with them for 2 or 3 years, we get to pick up the phone and say, hey, I've got a business question. Like, can you help me? I'm struggling here. And we do, first off, ask for permission, of course, and they ask you a business question, but certainly like they are extremely successful people. And I think all of our owners have built it all. None of it got inherited. It was all hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, and they've climbed that ladder, or they've climbed the mountain per se, and they've done it already. So it's extremely gratifying to be able to listen to their success stories, and then also ask, how can we do this better? You just saw us for 3 years. We just went through a process together. What would you do different, or what could have we done better? And they're honest. They're not degrading. They truly just want to help you succeed, just like we want to help people, the younger generation with us to succeed. So if you'd have told me 10 years ago that I'd be talking to some of the highest net worth individuals in the United States, I'd have thought, man, you're crazy. But I was in private aviation too. So my previous career was in general aviation. And so talk about high net worth, that was where my eyes got opened at 18 years old. I was visiting with very high net worth individuals there, doing homework at night. And same thing, I'd ask them the question like, hey, so how did you get here? What's your success story? I was never afraid to ask those questions, and I'm still not afraid to ask those questions because it comes from a respect standpoint. I highly respect people that are successful. It blows my mind that there is so much success in the United States and so many people are terrified of it. Like, there's nothing to be scared of. My gosh, they're willing to help you, and they're not kings or queens or anything like that. They're just normal people, but they're damn successful. And you know what? I want to be damn successful. So I hope by gaining the knowledge and information from them, whether it's business or personal, they're willing to share it. I'm willing to listen.
That's so awesome. And I mean, I kind of, I don't know, I always expect this like in the Mountain West too, right? Especially coming to places, like Casper, like, well, I would say Billings over Bozeman, but in the Mountain West where you have, I don't know, like there's more of a respect in a lot of this for especially people that have been there. Like, I get that I'm a transplant for a lot of this stuff, but for someone like yourself, that's been Casper for a long time. And so one other question, so where I live in Tuolumne County in California, like until I'm here for like 2 generations or maybe 3, I'm not a local. Is that the same way in Wyoming? And
oh yeah, and unless you were born there, you're not a local in Wyoming, to be really honest. I was born and raised there. My husband was not. He's from Colorado, and he changed his license as soon as we moved there, of course. And he's still my family or friends, they'll be like, so you're not from Wyoming? And he's like, well, I've been here 12 years. So you're not from Wyoming, we're very territorial up there. Yes, very territorial. And it's a morals and a values deal. It's how you grow up, right? And Wyoming people are good people. They are just good. And so is Montana and Colorado and the Mountain West, certainly. But I am so proud of Wyoming. I'm so proud to be from Wyoming. There are so many multimillionaires up there that you have no idea. It's quiet money, it's quiet business, it's very big business, a lot of success, and it all comes from, you'll see on our website, built on grit is a big one of our mottos, right? You have to be gritty. It's cold. The workforce is small. It is a million miles to everywhere, and so there are some challenges in Wyoming that not everybody can handle. And there are days that I've ended the day in tears of like, if it could just stop snowing and warm up to above 0, please, it would just make life easier and equipment wouldn't break down as much. So there's challenges in Wyoming, but oh my gosh, there's such good people up there, just as good as they get. And they're willing to help each other. You talked about the competition aspect of these guys want to help you. Everyone, there's enough for everybody. It's not really a territorial place. And most people don't do the same thing. Everyone has something that's a little bit different that they do. We're not building high rises by any means. There's no high rises in Wyoming, so we just don't build them. Nobody has to compete on that. But even in the engineering, there's, I don't know, 6 or 7 engineering firms that are right in Casper. We don't do the same thing as the other 5 engineering firms. We just don't. Everyone has their own little special niche in it. And we partner with each other. That part's nice. Finding strengths in other contractors and other partners. Yeah, and then to go have beers together after the project's done,
I mean, man, so, growing up, I was a farm kid, right? Raised cattle, horn Herefords, showed in 4-H, did all the 4-H stuff. And while I don't wear cowboy boots because I'm not an actual cowboy, never rode a horse. So, that's not my deal. But, to the point of that, right? The work ethic, everybody puts their boots on, they go to work. And I think that's, very much a Mountain West thing. And I say that very intentionally, right? So you cut off the coast and you really focus on, that mountain area of the West and just how everybody will work together. And really for all of you guys, like the ability to know what your strengths are, partner with other firms, right? Reach out for help. That is so crucial to, I think, a lot of success. And I know you just barely touched on it, but I think that's such an important point that you bring up.
Yeah, and I was just at a Women in Construction conference, and diversity, exclusivity, or DEI. I don't even remember what it stands for. Diversity, inclusion, and something else, right? I sat there like a little bit dumbfounded. Like, you don't have those issues in Wyoming. That's it's such a preconceived notion that we're the rednecks of the West and we're kind of just a bunch of dumb hicks out there, right? And yeah, we kind of are, to be really honest. I think we end up successful by the grace of God, but however, it's like you just don't have that up there. Like, you do you, I'll do me. We're gonna be in business together, but that's it. We don't really tread on each other's territory. I don't know. It's just different. I was just dumbfounded. I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe people have to fight these issues, because you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't even have to be talking about that. We shouldn't have to have DEI, programs in corporations, because why are we even fighting this battle? In Wyoming, we don't fight that battle.
Yeah. And again, just from a historical context, I think in the Mountain West, it's a lot of, ranching stuff, right? You don't tread on me, I don't tread on you. You help put my cattle back, I help put yours back. You don't steal them or we hang you, like all that stuff of, historical Mountain West. It's a lot of respect. It's a lot of pride. And that's what, like, I hate to use the reference, but that's what Yellowstone brings up, you know, is it's a respectful thing of like, you know, I do me, you do you, we help each other out, but there's a line that you just don't cross, and everybody just inherently knows that, you know, like growing up in, and it's really like in farm communities and ag, like it's a lot of that where there's just that inherent, I think, respect for what everybody's doing, you know, and if you need help, just ask, to your point, you know, and they're more than willing to do that. And I think it, again, it's just, I really want to emphasize this. And then just at the scale that a lot of these guys operate on, you know, these big farms, all that kind of stuff, like it is truly impressive if you've not seen these operations in how just massive they are. And then how humble the guys that run it are, you know, they got boots and blue jeans, you know, pulling out of a pickup truck, you know, they're not driving a supercar, you know.
No, they're not. Yeah, and I think, you know, we have a saying, and it's a little bit rash, but it's, you know, the more money you have, the more redneck you want to be. And that is, we have learned this from our clients, and we joke with our clients all the time about it. You know, we'll say that, and we've actually had some pretty intimate conversations with them, and they're like, it's true. Like, you just want to go back to a simple way of life where everyone respects each other, and you just go have your own kind of fun. But that's how we put it, is like, we just want to go shoot guns. We want to build this $10 million place because we want to shoot guns. We want to run around our four-wheeler. Okay, that's how we all grew up, right? And showing livestock. We want our kids to show livestock. We want them to understand about the care for an animal and how much work it takes, and same caring for crops and how important crops are. And, you know, you're in California, where it's the #1 ag state in the United States. And it's the hardest place to get anything done, the hardest place to get any kind of work done. And so you see that, like, you'll see posts on my social media side of things, and I'm like, man, we're feeding America. Why are we fighting so hard to not feed America when people are working inherently so hard to get things done? And then California, and I love California. First off, I love the wine in California. I'm a huge wine fan. So you talk about Gallo. I just got to go see their winery last year, so in their vineyards and such, and it was awesome. It was so much fun. But yeah, I don't know, it's just simplicity, right? People just try to get back to simplicity, and that's something that we pride ourselves on at work and at Western Heritage. Common sense. We don't try to over-engineer things. We don't try to make things more difficult than they have to be. Let's look at the common sense solution to get an answer, and let's go that route.
Well, and that's what this country was built on, right? It's the grit and determination and making it for yourself. And that's what most of us want, is we want to go and be successful, do our own thing, you know, an honest day for honest work for honest pay. We want to get, you know, independently wealthy, but then leave me the F alone. Stay out of my business. I'll bend over backwards for anybody, but stay the hell away from my shit, right? Just leave me alone, leave me to be. And I think you're in the perfect location geographically for that to still work, right? I mean, California, south of Dillon, is a whole enigma that we could get into on another show. But you know, in Michigan, in Southeast Michigan, we're the same way, right? It's a lot of Midwestern farm boys, right? We still have a lot of those, still that hardworking. You know, we don't wear cowboy boots quite as much, but we wear, you know, Carhartts and steel toes, and we get shit done. And those are the people that build this fantastic industry we're all in some fashion. And that's what we're trying to do and promote here, really, is exactly what you guys just kind of went on that little bit about. Is it's so much of that grit and so much of that hard work American value that people just forget is even out there anymore.
And I honestly think there's 80% that know it, live it, breathe it. Like, if it's like a bell curve, right? Like, if you take 10 off each side, which you can call it the coasts, and then, like you were referencing earlier, just that middle percentage, they're just really good, hardworking people that just want to come in and do their job and that have pride in it, right? Our guys, we have a small team, and our guys and gals are phenomenal. I mean, luckily we've got some really phenomenal engineering women that are coming up. We have good women in the construction side. And I'm a pro women can do anything, right? However, I'm not okay to put a man down to try to elevate yourself as a woman. That's something that is really near and dear to my heart. That's probably a whole nother show too. that we don't need to get into. But it's one of those of like empowering everybody and take pride in it. Our guys are so damn good. I would put our crew, honest to God, against any crew in America. They're so good and they have so much pride, and they come in and the job sites are clean, and they leave at night and the job sites are clean. That is someone's home that we're working at. That's someone's private property that we're working on. And we don't even have to tell them. Like it's an unspoken rule. Every single one of those guys that work for us, it's clean. You know, they just take pride in it. And so I think that's it. They want to work hard, and they also want a product that they're willing to sign their name to. Because when you build your structures, you sign your name on it. Yeah. You know, that it literally sign your name on the beams part of the time, but you put your signature on that, and that is forever. That's your legacy. And so you want to make it damn good.
Well,
without a doubt.
Communities like yours too. I mean, everyone knows everybody, you know, and everyone knows who did it. And, you know, one large landowner is going to talk to their neighbor, the next large landowner, and be like, hey, I like your thing. Who built it? Right.
And that's exactly how we get business. Most of our business is all repeat business. We're a referral business. Yep. And it's true, because if you screw up one of them and don't fix it, because all of us make mistakes, right? Every job site has a mistake. Every design has an issue. There's no perfect ones out there. So if you own it and you make it right, they're going to tell their buddies. Yeah. And then we get the call. Hey, Fred just told me that you just built his place, and I just bought one in Montana. Can you come help us up there? You know, and a lot of times we come into other communities that don't know us. So then it's small town. We all have small town America, right? And you've got all the eyes on you. And so our trucks start rolling in with our logos on them, and they're like, who the hell's Works? And so then the questions start coming. Yeah. And our guys our guys live there, so they'll go to dinner at the local restaurant or go get a beer at the bar or whatever. And then the questions start coming. Who are you and what are you doing here? You know, and we're very quiet. We don't say whose property we're working on. We don't say what we're doing. We have a high level of confidentiality. But boy, those questions come. And then all the looky-loos start driving by, right? The old F-150, F-250 pickups and the old man. What the hell are they doing over there? So it better be good when you have old George that's 85 years old and is out there snooping every day. You better make sure your job sites are good. And the finished product better be damn good.
Yeah, I mean, it's the unofficial mayor, right? And the bar knows all, and you're not going to hide too much for too long in places like that. You know, everybody knows everybody. Everybody talks. Everybody, you know, they all go hunting together. They all are at the bar together. They're all like, it's how it works. And I think even in, you know, bigger areas, like we forget that, right? That everybody knows everybody. Your secrets are going to get out. And who you're working for, what you're doing, whether you're good or not, whether you follow up with everybody, whether you do what you say you're going to do, is going to get out one way or the other. And I think, you know, to your point, and the projects you do, they're a little more elevated in that and a little more immediate in nature. But, you know, I think for all of us, it's important to remember that everybody is watching at all times, and they do know.
They know. Yeah. Matt, I'm sure you get that, don't you? The looky-loos and and even on the commercial sites, you get the phone calls from the Karens that are driving by. You get those phone calls.
Oh, absolutely. We get the phone calls. We get the folks that as soon as we leave, you know, once my guys leave at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the townspeople think it's their playground, and they'll just go walking on through. And I mean, it's insane. We haven't had any major issues with it, but, you know, we'll go back the next day and the neighbor might come over and say, hey, you know, we were checking out this wing yesterday, and what are you doing over here? It's like, well, why are you in our building? What, you don't have anything to do with this. But it's like Dillon said, you know, it's all small town. It doesn't matter how big your town is, and your reputation precedes you. And that is all we have to go on. So, you know, as much as I don't like the neighborhood Karens hanging out inside my construction site, it damn well better be clean, and it damn well better look good, because like it or not, those are the people that make or break you, right? And it's the chatter that, as long as you can control the chatter and it's good chatter about your company, then it's all great.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And address the bad chatter, right? You know,
address it quickly.
We've been fortunate. We haven't had to do a lot of that, just because our clients are very quiet. They don't want anybody knowing what's going on at their place, you know, until it's done, and then it's a big party and a big event, and everyone gets to see it. But yeah, it's the golden rule, and in the construction industry. It's just fun that it's almost like a frat house and a farming and ranching family mixed is literally how I look at the construction industry. I'm like, because it's fun. Like, it's a fun industry and we like to have a good time at the end of a project, right? But then it's also like this brotherhood of really good people that this industry encompasses.
Yeah. I was just at Farm Bureau for Stanislaus County this last week. And so Stanislaus is one of the top ag counties in California. And so we had 4 or 5 elected officials that were there. We had 2 congressmen, a senator, and then 2 state folks. So because of how big of ag it is. And so this was because my wife, she's a geologist, so we sell a lot of lime, dolomite, or she does in her company, to a lot of the tree farms in the valley, right? That's the primary as a calcium supplement to the farmland. And in going to this dinner, I mean, exactly like you're talking about, there's 2 bottles of wine on every table. It's a steak dinner, literal, like, New York strips for New York steaks for dinner, all the trimmings, like everything you could want for it, guy grilling out back, open bar, all the kind of stuff, but just down to earth people. The guys getting their awards were in their 60s for their service to Farm Bureau. And, it was just a lot of good-hearted fun. These guys were dairy operations, and, it spreads far and wide on, the people that grow food, provide all the, kind of supplemental services, if you will, like you guys are doing in irrigation and calcium or other supplements for the ag industry, that end up feeding America. And again, I just happen to be really close to a lot of it, and now more informed than I've ever been on, the agriculture that is in California. Again, it's huge. I mean, it's the largest industry outside of tech. But if you take away, like, really the tech side of it, it's the largest job producing industry in California is agriculture. So just phenomenal about the community, the culture of ag farming, and then, extend that to construction and building things and maintaining our kind of way of life here. Without getting on too much of a soapbox, Rikki, because I will do that when it comes to a lot of this stuff. You could tell I'm passionate about a lot of this and like ag and coming up from that background. But for you, where do you see the construction industry going? What would be, if you could wave a magic wand, what would you fix or help? Or maybe it's nothing, but where do you see the industry going, and where do you see some need for improvement?
The obvious one is labor. How do we fix this labor shortage? And it's, based on the graphs and based on the information we have, it's not going to get any better. It's everything from, we just started to put all of our machines to machine control, and our really good operators don't like it. They're pissed. Like, this is a video game. Why am I running a video game? Like, let me run the equipment how I know how to run it. But unfortunately, there's just this gap in qualified people. And I honestly, I look back and I'm like, where does this gap come from? Because it's people my age, right? It's my age, I'm 40. It's my age and under that I'm like, how did we miss this gap? Because in rural America, you grow up running equipment. Men, women, children, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm serious when I say my kids we're cleaning stalls, or my husband's out digging something in the back pasture. The kids are on the excavator, or they're on the skid or whatever, and they're running it. And I'm like, equipment's so cool to run. Like, how did we get away from nobody wanting, and it pays good, that nobody wants to work in construction, And so I really am at a loss as to why we have this labor shortage, but it's damn sure there. And that's, the qualified labor, the, I guess, dependable labor is another thing. And I think there's a shift coming. I really do think that it's going to course correct with the good operators and the good laborers and the good construction tradesmen, men and women, are going to rise to the top. I mentioned I was at that Women in Construction conference, and that's one thing that they're really trying to push is a national organization of getting more tradeswomen, and women are just as qualified as men, and you can go back and forth on that. Yeah. However, it's a matter of just wanting to do the job. Like, do you want to go into the electrical industry? Do you want to go into plumbing? What do you want to go into? Because any human right now has the greatest ability to go get trained and go execute right now. And I always laugh if anybody, which rarely happens, but if anybody ever complains about our labor rates on like our engineers, like, have you paid a plumber lately? Because they're $30 an hour higher than we are. And we're engineers. Like, I'm not, my guys and gals are engineers. And so I'm like, it's great money. Why are these trades so looked at as a negative, as not a career choice? And it's Mike Rowe. Mike Rowe, he's helped more of the trades than any human in America, I think, has. And I'm so thankful that he is bringing everything to light, and that he really is a big advocate for these trades. But it's people, it's good people. And if you can find good people and they're trainable, we can train them in anything, right? You just have to have a willing attitude, willing to learn, and we can train you. But I think that's the biggest gap. I think, and I'm nervous on all of this infrastructure spending. I'm curious, what's it actually going to do? Like California, right? Are we going to get dams built and reservoirs built? Are we going to get all that built, or are we going to stay in litigation for 20 years fighting and shooting ourselves in the foot? So I can tell I'm going to get you on your soapbox here.
So first off, I will 100% echo the statement of, in this day and age, with as much mechanization as we have, men, women, it doesn't matter. You don't need the brute strength that has been required in the past in construction to be in the field. With as much mechanization as we have, you got pipe benders, you've got all the other equipment out there to really take the true, like, you need to be real strong to do this, out of the equation, to where men, women doesn't really matter. If you're willing to show up and do the work, you can do it. Like, there's not a strength component. I mean, there's some, like, let's not say that there isn't, but most of that has been taken out of the equation, I would say, in the field. I mean, I'll let Matt and Rikki, you guys.
Well, yeah, I mean, it has. And to your point, I think, I don't care what you look like, what color your skin is. I don't care what language you speak or who you sleep with. If you can show up and you're willing to work and you're willing to do what it takes and grind it out, there's a spot for you in this industry. And I wish we didn't get to this like right at the tail end of the episode, because Rikki, Dillon and I could ramble on about this for hours. It is one of our primary goals here. And Mike Rowe's doing a great job. We need more big voices like his to join that fight. I mean, that's what we're trying to do. We're obviously nowhere near where he is, but there's so much wrapped up in the politics of America and the dissolution of our education system. And it goes down a rabbit hole that, you may never come out of if you get too far. But the reality is we provide so many opportunities in what it is that we do every day. And, again, it doesn't matter who you are. There is options. There are opportunities here. We just have to get better as an industry at educating, I think, the parents, frankly, if you want my quick opinion, but the parents first and then the kids, that, construction is a viable option. It's not second best. It's not first loser type shit anymore. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah, and I echo that. I think that's brilliant to go to the parents first and then the kids. There was something I was listening to or reading the other day that said, if you get them in high school, it's too late. Yeah. You have to get these kids in middle school, and that's where we have to start. And that comes on us too, right? As being a mentor and educating, and especially from the female aspect, I think in construction and engineering both. You don't have to be an engineer. I'm not an engineer, and I own a construction company and engineering firm. Like, you don't have to be an engineer and be, of that level of education. And so it's on us to go and educate and to go and teach people what construction really is and how much it could open your eyes. Because that's the other thing on the engineering. We've had some engineering students that have reached out to us and said, hey, I want to work for your company because I didn't know you could do what you do in engineering. Like, I thought engineering was just building roads or building buildings. And I thought that was it. And, man, I'm sparked up. I just had a kid reach out came from a dairy. And I'm thinking, man, you grew up on a dairy, hard work, but that's harder than I ever want to work is on a dairy. So come on, bud, like
Hell
come
yeah.
join us because we do cool shit. You know,
Yeah.
that's what we do. It's fun. And so exposing that younger generation back to like, this is some cool stuff. You get to move dirt, you get to work around equipment, and it pays good. Like, it's not like it's cool and you have to work for $6 an hour. It pays good, you know, and it does fall on us. And we're so busy as business owners, right? We're parents and we're business owners and we're trying to be involved in so many different things. That comes on us. It's our responsibility to start to educate that next generation. Yeah.
We have to. We've allowed ourselves to dig this giant hole, and there are no farm clubs anymore, right? And we've been bitching about it for 20 years, but no one's really started to do anything about it until very recently. So again, it's a whole show in and of itself, and we'd love to have you back, and maybe we can do that sometime in the near future. But you know, it is up to us. It's up to us, the three of us, the industry. It's up to all of us to contribute and fix this problem. Because if this problem doesn't get fixed, we're all shit out of luck, you know, real fast.
Yep. Where are we in 10 years?
Right.
You know, I mean, that's like, that is the crux of it right there, is we're 10 years away from shit falling in a big giant hole.
Yeah.
And America can't handle that. We personally can't handle that, you know, and that's where we're at. Yep. So you know, Wyoming, luckily we have FFA and 4-H clubs, and that they have to go do highway cleanups, and they have to go help elderly people paint their house. And they even have one that you buy time for the FFA members. And so you're like, hey, I need 8 hours and we're going to pay you. They get paid. So we're going to buy your time, and here's 8 hours. Come help us clean horse pens. Come help us build fence. Come help us do just basic, what we look as growing up in rural America, as you guys did, what we look as basic things, right? Basic tasks. Guess what? If you can build fence, you can go get you a good paying job building fence at 14, 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
More power to you.
I mean, you guys know what we worked for when we were young, when we were 13 or 14 and had our first jobs, you know, and we didn't work for anything.
Nothing.
Nowadays, those kids can make some coin.
Yeah. Rikki, I would love to have you back on for this conversation, for water resources conversation and the politics of it. You know, I stopped getting on my horse there on just the idiocracy that is California when it comes to these, you know, dam projects and other water resources. So I would love to talk about that and what we can do to move that forward. I know there's some effort. McClintock's trying to do it, which, I mean, he's old and hasn't done too much for us, but is, you know, trying to reduce really the amount of paperwork, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, before I rant too much, would love to have you back to talk about that stuff, because I think, you know, to the whole point of most of this, right, whether it's the kids, whether it's water resources, whether it's the opportunities that are within construction, whether it's bringing women into construction, you know, and letting people know that there's opportunities other than running equipment or bending pipe or being in the field. You know, you can project manage, you can estimate, you can do all sorts of things within the industry that I think people just truly don't know about. And so it becomes education more than anything on all these topics that we're talking about. Once you kind of understand what people have to go through, you know, from farming to water to irrigation to getting rights to irrigate stuff to, you know, permitting a building to opening a building, everything that we go through, you know, once people really understand that, like, they don't have any questions. They're like, why is this so hard then? You know?
Yeah, it is. The common sense starts to come together, right? They're like, oh gosh, I didn't know all of that. Let's make this process easier so we can make it quicker. Yeah, that'd be great. You know, and in California, there are so many brilliant humans in California. It blows my mind that the regulations have gotten that bad. You know, we've got to feed America. We got to take care of our own first. You know, United States is the only independent country that can do that. You know, we've got the natural resources, we've got the fossil fuels, we've got everything right here. Let's stop shooting ourselves in the foot.
Amen to that.
Yeah, I would love to come back and visit with you all. We have many topics that we can go off of, but the women in construction, that's a big one too. Gosh, I'd love to talk more on that. And if you guys or any of your listeners feel free to reach out to me if there's any females out there that just need someone to talk to or bounce things off of, or men. I mean, it's fine, but the female aspect I'm really passionate about of growing that in construction. So would be happy to visit.
Where can they find you?
www.works.us, and that's WURX.us. And then our Western Heritage one is westernhce.com. And you can reach out there, hit the contact page, it comes to me. So I'll get all of the emails.
Awesome. Any last words, Rikki, before we wrap things up here?
Keep fighting the good fight, guys. I appreciate it. All of the expertise and everything you guys put out there. You never know who's getting just one little bit better because of what you're saying and what we're talking about. So keep fighting the good fight. I appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
Well, that goes across the board, Rikki. Thank you for coming on. It was a fun conversation, and hopefully we can do it again in the near future.
Absolutely. Okay, take care, guys.
Awesome. Matt, any last words before I wrap us up?
I'm good, man.
All right, guys. Well, we covered a lot of ground today. Be sure to follow Rikki, check out her sites and what they're up to. It's pretty cool stuff that they're doing. And, as we've talked about in this show and countless others, spread the word about construction. It's a well-paying job. It's a great career. And there's tons of avenues to go to, whether you're a parent, not a parent, a parent, spread the word on construction and, see if you can get in and job shadow or visit job sites, all that kind of stuff. Please ask, do not trespass, all that kind of good stuff, so that you can really inform your kids, inform yourselves about this industry. And the same with agriculture. Reach out to, if you know a farmer, if your friends know a farmer, like any of that kind of stuff, they would be probably more than happy to at least have a conversation with you. And really, all of this stems around education and educating yourselves, your community, about what construction is, what we do, and how we can help empower those that come after us. So that's it for this episode of the Construction Corner podcast. Until next time.